All righty, here we go. We are live by the look of this. And Michael Silvers has asked me to open up this amazing live stream. So we're live in California at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove. And so it's Jeff Ross here. Yes, and you can tell I've got an Australian accent. And no, I'm not in California. I'm all the way down here in Tasmania, would you believe it? Streaming in here virtually and opening this up for you all so you guys can be part of this event that is local, happening in Los Angeles right now, and actually be part of this live stream that's happening with us too, so you can join us virtually. All right, so g'day legends. If you're watching this right now, the live or the replay, make sure you put some time aside just for the next couple of hours just to be present, and you've made a brilliant choice. And if you're just as 10% as excited as I am, I'm pretty excited. I'm as excited as that caffeinated kangaroo bouncing on the round trampoline. You know that you're in for something massive. Hey, before we dive in, I want you to do me an absolute huge favor, please. Make sure you go hit that share button. Let's spread the word. Let's get this out. You know, your freedom depends on it. Make sure you share that button for me. Share this live stream with a mate, with a team player, or somebody who needs a breakthrough today. They will be very grateful that you did. Let's flood the feed with some hope, with some healing, and with some good old Aussie approved motivation. And if you've already shared it, please type share in the comments. And once you've done it, you might be able to get a shout out midstream. I don't know, no promises, but just love to be able to share it. Let me just quickly check on my phone, make sure this is all working properly. Do a quick tech run here. I believe it is, but I've left my own devices here at the moment. So yes, we are all good. So we've got three amazing speakers, and we've got a panel of our amazing podcasters from the Los Angeles Tribune podcast network coming up. And I believe one of the best speakers I've ever heard myself listen to. And I'm so grateful to be in his mastermind right now. And that's Dr. Joseph McClendon III. And he's a man who's literally transformed stages and lives all over the world. Over 6 million have experienced his fire, his neuroscience-based strategies, and his unforgettable activation energy. He's not just a speaker. He is Tony Robbins' right-hand man. For over 30 years, he's been behind the scenes, and he's been on stage helping thousands break through from fear, anxiety, and limiting beliefs. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get my pen and paper out and listen. Every time I hear Joseph speak, I just love it, and I learn something new every time. You know, he's an author of multi bestsellers. He's a doctor of neuropsychology, and he's the kind of guy who could coach a rock and get it rolling and get it motivated to move. And if you're ready to rewire your mindset, tap into next level, and get a serious kick in the breakthrough pants, you're in the right place. And I can't wait to listen to Joseph myself. So drop a fire emoji if you're on your way and you're done with being ordinary and you want to be extraordinary. And make sure you give Joseph a shout out and thank him in the chat for us too. And another blessing here we've got today is Becky Robbins. Next up, she's a woman of elegance, insight, and a massive heart. She's not just known for the Robbins name. She's carved out her own legacy and space of creativity, leadership, and transformation. Becky Robbins is an artist, a philanthropist, a global speaker, and whose story reminds us that healing and growth don't come from hustle alone, but from presence, reflection, and purpose. Because behind most of the iconic events, moments, and personal development, Becky's graceful influence has helped thousands of people step into their full identity. And if you've ever felt your strength and with stillness, you're someone who leads with heart and wants impact in a place of purpose, make sure you type a love heart and put Becky's name in the comments below and show her some love. And also, we've got Lefty Williams, a former Harlem Globetrotter turned motivational powerhouse. I've actually had the privilege and blessing of working with Lefty to help him out with his book cover, and I can't wait for that to go live. You know, this guy is proof that passion can be slam dunked into everything that you do. He's performed and spoken over 70 countries using humor, humility, and raw truth to inspire families, teams, and future leaders around the world. So whether it's sharing his struggles growing up and turning setbacks into slam dunks, I can't wait to really learn from Lefty as myself. And so we got three amazing speakers, and we've also got our podcast panel with the Los Angeles Tribune podcast network. So legends, let's take a moment. Let's breathe. Let's just calm it down. I started with some high energy, right? So let's just bring it back down. You know, we're all part of something really amazing here today. This isn't just a live stream. This is happening live, actually, at the Barnes & Noble event in the Grove in Los Angeles. I wish I was there. I've got some amazing friends that I've made in this network through virtual events like Michael Silvers. We've got Parissa. You know, I'm just going to give a shout out to Erin. I believe Dr. Catrice is there. Katrina. Some amazing names. And these guys are becoming friends, mentors, leaders. And I can't wait to be a sponge and, you know, get my pen and paper. I always learn something from everybody. And so while the team's here busy setting up their tech and getting all the cameras set up, just really want to make sure that you guys are plugged in. You've got your cup of coffee, caffeinated kangaroo style. You've got your water. You got your notes and pad. So your notepad and your pens. And you're ready just to be a student for the next couple of hours. Because this is being delivered to you complimentary. Like, people pay thousands of dollars to hear these guys speak in the room. And that's one of the things I love about the Los Angeles Tribune and why I've chosen to personally partner with them and become the Australian ambassador for them. Because they're all about lifting up the global voice of thought leadership. You know, like little old Jeff Ross down here in Tasmania, you know, with father of three amazing boys, caffeinated kangaroo style, because of the amazing synergy, the collaborative projects, the partnership that I've had with Michael Silvers, Mr. Mo Rock, you know, Mary Glorifield, Parissa, Alicia, Ava. I've been able to step up and become a better leader myself. And, you know, what's that saying that, you know, John Maxwell, I believe, says it, that we become like the leader who we hang around the most. You know, the 5 people that are in our circle of influence. So if you want, you know, if you're struggling to find 5 people, well, I've just given you 3 amazing legendary leaders, and you can follow them here today and be a part of their world. So I believe we're about a couple of minutes going live. I can see the team there getting everything right and rock and rolling. And make sure, if you haven't already, go and share this with your friends. Tag them in the comments and give me a 1 in the comments if you're fired up as I am and ready to get going. So let me know in the comments, who's pumped up right now? And who do you know who needs to hear this today? Don't scroll away. Don't spectate. Engage. This is your moment. This is your move. This is your turning point. Make sure you share this. We're going to go to commercial for 60 seconds, and we will be back on time, ready to go live. So, guys, I've just given you a key there. 60 seconds. We're going to commercial.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
All right, so I'm just going to bring up the team here and we'll get this camera going. Looks like we've got the camera going. We've got Alicia. How are you going, Alicia? Oh, what happened there? Let's bring that back up. Not sure what. All righty. All right. So we're just doing some tech issues here. We're not ready to start. All good. I will keep going here with you all. Sorry about that. Yeah, the show must go on, right? So as I say, we've been focusing on here. We're talking to Joseph McClendon. We're talking to former Harlem Globetrotter, Lefty Williams, and we've also got the amazing Becky Robbins speaking. And we've got an amazing panel jumping up here as well, where we're going to have an opportunity to listen to. So we've got some amazing speakers. I hope you're all ready, strapped in, and we're ready to rock and roll. So I'm just looking at the team chat here, making sure we're all good. the joys of doing this live, and we're bringing this to you through a live stream here. As I said, I'm actually based here in Tasmania, Australia, tuning in virtually while the team over there are getting set up there in the Grove in the Los Angeles area in California. So we're starting about in 2 minutes. So please don't start. Yep, cool. No worries. All right. So I had my opening all prepared, and now they've put me on the spot, and now I've got to riff with you. So yeah, drop a couple of comments in below. What are you most excited about? Let me talk about our Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Week that we've got coming up next week, May 1st to May 7th. This is going to be a brilliant show. It's our flagship show of the year. We've got 7 days of amazing speakers. We've also got Dr. Joseph McClendon speaking there. Becky Robbins is also speaking on that event as well. Yours truly will be one of the hosts. I believe we've got Gene Simmons coming to be there as one of the main speakers as well. Like, pinch me, like, that's pretty cool. Anyway, this show's not about that today. This one's all about the Barnes & Noble event that we're actually live streaming from the Barnes & Noble. And, we're in the Grove here today. I believe we've got Mark DeGrassi as one of the panelists there from digital, Yep, cool. Sorry. I'm just reading the comments there, making sure I got the team, and we're all good. So let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from, please. So g'day, Nicole. G'day, Haley. G'day, Sarah. It's so actually be awesome with you today. Craig, it's so awesome to see you there, mate. Craig Bruce, thank you very much. Can't hear me. Everybody else can hear me. Can you guys just give me a 1 in the comments below on social media if you can hear me okay? It looks like it's all working on fine on here on my end. I need you to introduce Michael Silvers now. Okay, cool. All right, so it looks like we're all good to go. I'm going to hand over the microphone and the spotlight to Mr. Michael Silvers, our Vice President of the Los Angeles Tribune. Over to you, Mr. Michael Silvers. All right, whilst they're just sorting out, Michael needs to be unmuted there, guys, and we'll get him sorted out. Cool. So
we have an amazing group of people tonight, and they're really here for you. They're here to give you information, education. It's not really a Q&A time, but they'll be around after the event so you can chat with them a little bit. What that means is don't spend 30 minutes. Does that make sense? Just talk to them a little bit, realize other people want to have a chat with them. We'll have the red carpet going afterwards too. Is that correct, Alicia? Okay, good. Everybody give Alicia a round of applause. I'll bring her up in a minute. And there's also Mr. Joseph McClendon, who I'm about to bring up in a minute. His books are back there, so please get one. He'll be doing a book signing after we're done. Everybody got that? Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do, Alicia, you ready? Okay, I'm going to first bring up, just really quick, our CEO, COO, Miss Parisa Rose. Here she comes. It's amazing to be here tonight.
It is so amazing to be here tonight. Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing? Great. Okay, I need a little more energy than that. How are y'all doing? Okay, that was better. That was better. Well, it's good to see all of you here. I'm not going to talk a whole lot because I want to have all of you that are here on the panels and here to be sharing your insights and the projects that you're working on. I want y'all up here. So without further ado, are we bringing up Alicia next? Mm-hmm. All right, we have our CSO, Alicia Magnus Lewis. I do not see you. There you are. You're right in front of me. Here you go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Podcasts, Books, and Entertainment. I have to say this is one of our favorite events that we get to host here at the Grove at Barnes & Noble's because we get to bring individuals that have podcasts, individuals that are authors, and individuals that just have a story that they want to get out to the world. And my favorite part about this event is that it's all about community. The connections that happen with the people that are in this room are always so magical. So you all are in for a treat. We have so many amazing individuals that have flown in from all over to be with us here today. Keep the energy high, keep questions going, and most importantly, remember that whatever your story is, it matters too. Thank you.
Give them a round of applause. Awesome. Thank you so much. The other thing too, just really quick, and then we'll start, is I wanted to let everybody else know, you can look in your calendar, but July 17th, we'll be back. There'll be just an amazing group of people. And then November 20th, we're going to do a big live award show for books and podcasters that's going to be followed up with the next day. So if that's you or that's something you know, somebody who should be part of, you should let us know. I will actually give out my cell phone later. If I don't, just remind me. And you can text me at any time. But if you text me your name, your book, your podcast, whatever it is, one thing about you nobody else knows, that way I know you're not one of those people just texting going, hello, right? You get that all the time? Or are you free for lunch? I'm like blocking that, whoever that is. So, it's all etiquette. Everything's etiquette. So without any further ado, with the live stream, we're so excited. I can almost hear a bounce, but that's okay. I'm going to bring up the next gentleman. This next gentleman I have known for a long time, and he has changed millions and millions of lives around the world. Been in front of 6 million people live. Give that amazing round of applause, right? Not many of us have done that. At the same time, he always shows up. He's always there and present. He's always there to make a difference. Without any further ado, let's give a thunderous round of applause to Mr. Joseph McClendon III.
Stop! Make them stop.
I can't. They're just too excited. It's good. All right, yeah, we got to move into frame. You keep saying you're out of frame. I'll put you right there. How's that? That way we're going to sit. Is that okay? Okay. This is it's like a radio. Remember the old shows like this? Okay, great.
That's way before my time. Way before my time.
Okay. All right. We're going to have a conversation about that after. So anyways, Joseph, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you're even here tonight?
By profession, I'm a neuropsychologist. Matter of fact, I had a practice not too far from here that I help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges and things that hinder their lives. And that was my profession. I love doing that. And as you might imagine, I'm a little unorthodox in the way that I do things. And I say that because I always believe that when people come for help of any kind, whether it's your business or whether it's your life or whatever, what they want is results, not just, a piece of paper on the wall or your attributes and things that you do. So I'm a bit unorthodox the way I do things. I always explain it like this. If you come into my office and you got a fear of dogs, take a guess what's going to be in my office. It's going to be a dog. And the reason being is just in a matter of time, you're going to be holding that dog. You're going to be fighting. And then that's my profession. But by trade, I'm what's known as an ultimate performance specialist. A coach. I coach people and that kind of thing. And what brings me here is you. You provided an opportunity to now, as you and I talk about legacy, bring these tools, processes, and strategies to people so that they can program themselves so they can get the best out of themselves as well.
It's great. I know we're one micing it today, isn't that? It's because we're going to get friendly tonight. But the biggest thing is having you here. I've seen you perform. I've seen you change lives. I've seen you really make a difference. And there's a lot of people out there that there's a tendency of us getting stuck in our stuff, right? And we don't move forward. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And can I play with these guys? And you guys out there, are you sure? Okay, so the way that is when you say stuck in your stuff, how many of you have stuff? Yeah, everybody has stuff. So here's the question. Stuff. What is your stuff? I always look at it like this. Your stuff is the stuff that holds you back. It keeps you back from getting what you want. And so the reason I wanted to play with them is this. I'm gonna ask you if any of these things before or now hinder your life. And if they do, when I get to one of them, if it hinders your life, if it slows you down or even stops you or has, raise your hand. I call them the toxic 10. Ready? Okay. Procrastination. Okay. And keep your hand up, by the way, when you raise your hand. Okay? I'm putting them on blast. Okay. Procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, stress, overwhelm, and fear of rejection. Keep them up, just so I can see. Yeah, and if you're out there in the, we all do. That's our stuff. That's all of our stuff. And each one of them feeds the other one. And they're all our psychology, not our mindset. It's our psychology. And our psychology is just what we think about ourselves, what we think about other people, and what we think about our environment around. And so and by the way, those toxic 10, we all suffer from those. And if you can find a process to mitigate those and replace them with something else, then you're way ahead of the game of most people, because most people, A, don't know what their stuff is, and then B, they are feeling guilty, feeling bad, and all that stuff, and just keep it going over and over again. So the process is more important than knowing what to do.
Well, you know what the follow-up question is going to be then, because it's that action, it's that process that people get lost in. Can you talk about that? Give them that meat, because I know there's no one better than you at this.
Oh, stop it. Yeah. It's actually it's certainly not complicated. Matter of fact, I believe in simplicity. And I'll put it like this. Would you hold this for me? Okay. So in order to get what you want, you got to do something different, right? Y'all agree?
Yep.
I said y'all.
Y'all.
You got to do something different. And most people keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so I'm going to show you something. And then when you get it, you're going to go, okay, that's what I have been doing. Everybody go like this. And go like that. And then take this hand and reach out and go like this. Okay. Now, I'm going to do it, but you don't do it until I tell you to, because it's dangerous. Watch. Okay. I'm trying to catch this thumb with this hand. Okay. I'll go slow. Watch. You try it. Now look at what just happened. Most of you gave up. You didn't even do it. Try it. Go faster. Go faster. Even faster. Okay? Will you ever catch the thumb, yes or no?
No.
Yes. Watch. So you got to do something different. And as silly as that is, most of us go through life doing this over and over again. And what does Einstein say? Expecting a different result. And that's crazy. And so there's something different. I'll share with you something really, really interesting. It's a really simple process, because it's all about the process. As I always say to people know what to do, but they don't always do what they know. People that want to lose weight don't not lose weight because they don't know how to lose weight. We all know how to lose weight. It's physics. Quit putting so much food in this hole and move your body and you'll lose weight. But most people don't do what they know because they keep doing this over and over again. The trick is, just like the dog in the office, is to don't wait for the craving or the habit or something to show up in your life. Don't wait for it. Go out and make it show up. The reason I put a dog or anything else in the vicinity, if you come see me, we're going to deal with it right there. Bring it up front. So don't wait, cause it to happen. And it can be as simple as just thinking about the thing that you don't want to deal with. Thinking about the thing that you have a bad feeling about, or any of those toxic 10. Because as soon as you think it, you feel it. And as soon as you feel it, then you're going to behave that way. It's always think, feel, do, and have. And so you can simply just change, we call it a pattern interrupt. And that is just think about what you want and then just interrupt that pattern by shaking yourself out and putting a smile on your face. That is as simple as that. Think about what you don't want to think about, or the thing that hinders you, the thing that stops you, the thing that slows you down, the thing that you're afraid of. And this is unbelievably simple. This is the simplest way that I can explain it to you. Think about it, feel bad, and then snap yourself out of it. Just, snap yourself out of it, shake yourself out, because you create a scotoma in your brain, a blank spot in your brain, and your brain will ask you, how many of you have ever done this? I'll take this now, thank you. How many of you have ever done this? Maybe you're sitting on the couch and you're going, you're watching television and you see maybe an infomercial and you think, or whatever, and you go, I got to go in the kitchen and get an ink pen. And then you go, because right now you're in that pattern. You're in that pattern of seeing what you want, thinking what you want, and your body is like that. But then you stand up and you go into the kitchen and you're in the kitchen going,
why am I here?
What the hell did I come in here for? Raise your hand if you've done that. Okay. Well, that's a very valuable thing, because in that moment, you create, in psychology, it's a scotoma. It's a blank spot in your brain. So 3 things happen. You're sitting here thinking ink pen, and this could be synonymous with anything that you're doing, especially even like if you think about something bad. And then when you change your physical body, and you stand up and you shake yourself out, three things happen. One, you're no longer there. You're no longer seeing that, saying it, feeling it. The other thing that happens is you create that blank spot in your brain, and that blank spot is like a vacuum. It's a mental vacuum. That's why you can't remember. But what does nature always want to do to a vacuum? It wants to fill it up, and that's your opportunity to fill it up. And it can be as simple as putting a smile on your face. And as silly as that sounds, when we smile, it makes our brain tell our body to release endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin, which makes us feel good, and that goes into that place. So what happens is it can be as simple as this: causing yourself to feel bad, and then interrupting your pattern to create that scotoma, and then your brain's not going to question, what. It's going to grab, because it's a vacuum, it's going to grab whatever. And if you smile, your brain releases, all those things that feel good. And then here comes the most important part. First off, your brain is going to go, well, wait a minute. What just happened before I got that feel good juice? And it's going to go, oh, I took myself out of feeling bad. And it's going to go, let's do it again. And then here's the icing on the cake. This is the one that seals it into your nervous system. And that is when you praise yourself. You praise yourself, because when you do, your nervous system says, that felt good and I got it from me. And then it'll cause you to start doing it again. That way you start to program yourself to automatically default to that. The thing that used to make you feel bad is the thing will start to make you feel good. Long answer to your question.
Give that a round of applause. Oh, that was good. I like that. It's warm up here too, isn't it? It's either you or I don't know what's doing it. Because I'm like, woo! Get the fans going. It's that action piece too. We start to do it. We start to look at, what the issue is, the process, and then it's that really putting it into action. And I think that's, again, the point that people start to lose it. And can you talk a little bit about action? I think also with action too, that accountability, and that's what we talk about, accountability partners or people or that's why you want to hire a coach, a mentor, and all of that.
Yeah, I make a difference delineating between action and activity. We've heard this for years and years. Take action, take action, take action. My belief is you take action, but most people don't do it. Like people say, I'm going to start my diet tomorrow, and some people do, and that's taking some action. But what do you do the next day and the next day and the next day? So there's a difference between action, which means doing something once or twice or a couple times, and activity. Activity is doing it over and over and over again till you surpass your goal. And to your point, what helps people is doing what you're doing right now, putting yourself in the vicinity of people that are going to inspire you. Some of my greatest friends for many, many years are here in this audience and have taught me so many things. I get emotional about this. Have taught me so many things. And put yourself in the vicinity of. Get yourself a coach, or get yourself somebody that you're in the vicinity of somebody that's been there, done that, and can teach you, at the very least, even inspire you to do things.
Yeah. And I think that point of that inspiration is, and we're not talking about just hype you up. That's never what we're talking about. It's really, because that's where you look at a mentor too. And you look at that person who's further down the road than you, and you really build those people into your life. And that's a really critical piece, because we have a tendency of not doing that. We have a tendency of, maybe I'm not worth it. Or we have a tendency of, that's it. Or even holding back of the investment in ourselves. Because you and I are here because we invested in ourselves. And we continue to. We're always in classes. We're always doing something moving forward. And I think that makes a huge difference as we go forward. So, as this audience sits here and they're watching us, by the way, everybody, hello out there. So can't forget them. So thank you so much for watching us from all the countries that this is going out to. What is something that you can really give them that they could take away today, and something they could put into action in their life, whether it's around finance or relationships, or, something they can really hold on to, one particularly action they can do?
How about two?
Perfect.
Okay. I said there's 10 things that stop us. There's only 3 things that move us forward. 3 things. Here's the deal. You want to write this down. And these are the things. And again, this, as a coach, these are the things that I like to help people do these things here. Number 1, I call it the 60-20-20 rule. The question I ask before I tell you what that is how many of you want what you want sooner rather than later? Yeah, everybody. So it doesn't mean you don't get to enjoy the process and be patient. Get what you want sooner rather than later, so you don't have to go through all this stuff. And the second thing is what do you want? Here's the action item that you can do. It's one of them. What do you want? What do you want? Now, you guys can't see me here. You can't see the audience here. They're looking at the camera. But this is what they look like now, just so you know. When I ask, what do you want? They're all going like this. Because most of us will go, well, I want this. And they, like you were saying earlier, people know what they don't want, but they're not very specific. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know that goal setting is important. Well, what is your goal? And I'm going to tell you what you want. And some of you are going to get sphincter pucker when I do this. And some of you are and I'll tell you why. But then when I tell you what it really means, you're going to go, yes. So here's what you want. Write this down. And then watch what happens to you. You want to be wealthy. Now, this audience here, especially if we're in Hollywood or in LA, you know, this type of person is going, it's not just the money, Joseph. Well, you don't know what I mean when I mean wealthy. Now watch this, because now you're going to agree with me. Here's what wealthy means. To be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. Is that what you want? Yeah, everybody. So now you got a target. So that's the number one thing. In those three areas, and by the way, there's subsets to all of those things, of course. But when you write it down, you and I were talking about this before, making pictures of it, writing it down and getting it outside of you, then you got a target to shoot for. And then here's the three things that help you get there. Number one is 60% your psychology. Like I said, your psychology is what you think of yourself. And obviously coaches, mentors, and things like that will help you define what that is. What do you think about yourself? Remember, in that toxic 10 with self-loathing and self-beating and all those things, we all go through that stuff. That means maybe your psychology isn't as great as it could, should, would be. Work on that. The other 20% is energy. And energy is not just get up and go energy. It's that electricity that goes through you. And even what I just told you about the pattern interrupt, you can change that. And then the last thing is magnetism. It's not the laws of attraction, it's magnetism. We all magnetize ourselves and other people. And proof of it is, and then I'll shut up. I don't know how much time we got. Okay. We sure? Yeah. Okay, good. So watch this. How many of you have ever been sitting in your car and you feel somebody looking at you? And you look over and there they are looking at you. Raise your hand if that happens to you. Okay. All of us. Or you are sitting in your car and you look over and you see maybe an attractive person or whatever, and you look at that person and they feel you looking at them and they catch your silly ass looking at them. Raise your hand. Now watch this. What happens as soon as you get caught or they catch you? What do we always do? We always look away. And as soon as you do, see, first off, when we put your attention and attention on another human being, and it's synonymous with anything else that you want in your life, those three things, healthy, happy, financially abundant. When you put your attention on that, you physically glow with electromagnetic energy. And that can be measured. Go on YouTube and look it up. You can see Carillion photography. You can see it. When you put your curiosity, your interest, your intention on something else, you glow with electromagnetic energy. The second thing that happens is they feel it. And then when they feel it, they get curious, so theirs glows. And if you know anything about magnets, two magnets, the fourth thing is they're attracted towards each other. And so when you have that in your life, those three things, your psychology, you change your energy that goes on inside of you, you change your magnetism, you become unstoppable.
Really? I can be unstoppable? Oh, this is good. Look at this. Okay. You know, the great thing about that is as we become unstoppable, it's how we start to then affect the people around us, right? So that's what starts to happen is you start to look at who's around you. We used to always say this is if you want to move down the path, stop listening to your broke brother-in-law, right? Because the ones who keep pulling you back, that doesn't mean that you don't love them, right? But that still means that you still move forward. And who do you start? So look at us in the room tonight. This is some of you know each other, some of you don't know. Look to the left, say hello. Look to the right, say hello. Everybody do this out there. They're like, yeah, there's nobody sitting next to me. So you just made new friends, right? And you just made a whole new circle that you never had before. And that's really important as we continue to do this. You know, the other thing too that I really see is people in this audience and the audience out there. We have a lot of people jumping in. By the way, Joseph McClendon III is one of our new podcasters on the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. So give that a round of applause. And so whether you're an author, a speaker, a podcaster, you have children, grandchildren, nieces, whatever it is, becoming a speaker and learning how to speak is critically important. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. How do we interact with each other? We talk to each other, and I have the privilege of having done this for a long, long time in front of a lot of people. But the truth of the matter is, unless you cultivate the skill of being able to influence other people with the words that you say and how you use your body, then you're not giving yourself the advantage that you could have. And so speaking, storytelling, whether it's, like you said, podcasting and things like that. Look, there's people out there now, when you look at an entrepreneur, how many of you are entrepreneurs? Okay. Everybody's an entrepreneur now. There's kids your age, my son's age, that are making $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 a month doing podcasting, doing, things like that. And the only difference between them and the people that aren't doing it is they have, whether they know it or not, have gotten out there and learned how to run their pie hole in a way that causes people to go, "Ooh, I want some more. I'm going to keep clicking on this. I'm going to buy that product," or whatever. So the process of being able to, whether it's like you said, speaking or influencing, is critical. It's critical. You look at anybody that is, successful in anything, one of the things that they have, knowingly or unknowingly, is that ability to be able to impact and influence other people.
That's right. And it's, the influence, what happens too is there used to be a concern, well, they're going to influence me in a way I don't want. That's not true, because we all make a decision, right? And we can be influenced in a way that directs us towards whether we're moving to that side of ourselves, which is moving away, the toxic 10 again, right? We go back to that. But when it comes to the world of I'm going to talk about podcasting for a second, because it's 1 year in. What is it about the podcast? And really, it's about getting your message and story out there. Who out there is a podcaster? I can't see on the, okay, fantastic. Who's going to be a podcaster? Raise your hand. If I told you that the industry just did 24 billion and it's about to do 100 billion, who's going to be a podcaster? It's so open right now, you have no idea. But what do you enjoy about doing your podcast?
Being able to share what's in here to get it out to other people. That's it. Everybody here is great at something. Is great at something. I don't care whether you whittle ducks. There's a thing that people whittle ducks or whatever you do. There's somebody out there that does the same thing and they want to hear about it. Right. And so it gets you to be able to talk about the thing that you do. And whether it's a podcast where you have guests on your show or you're just, talking yourself, it gives you that opportunity. And I will say this, that one of the most important things about doing that, getting it outside of you, is you get to impact other people. And people always say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. Yes, you do. We don't have just one purpose. In my opinion, one of our biggest purposes is helping our fellow man, our fellow woman. And when you do that, it feels so good. When you're getting it out there, it feels so good. And just like whether it's YouTube or whether it's podcasting or whether it is Instagram or something, you see these people that are successful at it. When I say successful, they're doing it at a level that is fulfilling for them and then doing those three things I talked about, being wealthy. Then it's natural for them and they feel good about it. When they do that and they get finished with that, they get to put that in the can, and that's something out there that lives on beyond them.
That's right. And that's the thing, that it's generational at that point, because it becomes, really think of this, it's evergreen, because people in driverless cars and when the cabs stop hitting each other, in 10, 20, 30 years, they're going to still be listening to it. But the other thing too, for those of you out there who are really doing this, make sure you videotape, because video is still king. And that video will be watched for generations to come until, the robots take over, all that stuff. But it's going to be out there for a long time. And that's a really important piece. So before I let you go, what's one last thing you'd like the audience to know?
I want to just kind of dovetail on that before I say that. And that is this. What he says is true. Videotape yourself. It's the other action item that you can do. Yeah. Go home tonight. How many of you have a cell phone? Yeah, it's the law, okay? Take your cell phone, put it on a tripod, or hold it out here and video yourself just running your mouth about anything at all. And then here's what's going to happen to you, I promise you. When you watch it back, you're going to cringe. You're going to go like this. You're going to go, okay? Because most of us don't like doing that. But the more you do it, And when you watch yourself do it, and then, because anybody that'll tell you, how many of you know who Mr. Beast is? Yeah. Okay, go back and watch his early videos. He was awful, and he says he was awful, but he just kept on doing it. So when you do it tonight, video yourself and see how you feel about it. That is your psychology talking to you. And instead of going, oh, I suck at this or that kind of thing, go, at least I did it. And then take an action and do it again, Last thing I'll say is this. Remember this, life is always exactly what you dare to make it. And fortune, whatever that means to you, fortune favors the bold. And so the trick to life is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent.
Awesome. All right. Give Mr. Joseph McClendon a thunderous round of applause. Thank you so much. His books are in the back. They're on the back counter. There's actually not that many of them left. So if you want one when we're done, make sure you do. Joseph will do a book signing back there. There's an interview style, and there's certain ways to do this. And I've done this. He's done this longer than I have, but I've done this a long time. I'm at about 100 years. You're at I don't know what. But anyways, there's so many ways to do this, and you have to find your style. That's the big piece too. So sometimes you notice I bring them right up and I let them do their own what's called earn the right. I'm going to do the same thing with Becky. So, but it's letting them, because they know who they are. And I could, if we're in front of a big, huge audience, I'd be reading the script, right? We'd be doing that. But this is intimate. Even though we're out to tens of thousands here, this is an intimate experience together. So you have to decide what your style is, no matter what you're doing. Because sometimes it's even as an employee, are you going to be number one, the best employee there is? And what is that style? When it comes to interviewing, is interviewing my favorite thing on the planet? It just depends. But I enjoy what I do, and I love to bring it out to the world, so I just stay on that mission. And the other thing is, what drives your mission? So for me, it's my grandchildren. The reason that I do what I do is because I keep seeing them. For some of you, it could be whatever it is, find that thing that keeps you moving forward no matter what, because there'll be those times in your life. Everybody got that? And you keep moving forward. One thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to bring Becky up. And by the way, why do I keep saying? Because first of all, I'm grounding this Becky, I'll say Becky Robbins now, into your brain so you never forget. Number two, the next person coming up knows they're about to come up, right? So it starts to prep them at the same time. But I'm going to, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael Silvers, Vice President, Los Angeles Tribune. The part of the reason we're here is because our CEO, Mr. Mo Rock, who's not here tonight, but he's at a charity event because he does so much for children. Give that a round of applause. Awesome. And also behind the camera, just so I don't forget, is Mr. Ronnie. Mr. Ronnie, there you go. Give him a round of applause there. You'll get to know him. He does so much for us. That cover with Sheila E., that's Ronnie. He does a lot of social media for Sheila E. If you don't know who Sheila E. is, well, see, she doesn't like, I'm not going to say Prince, but anyways. So just get to know who the circles are. We're here for you, and now we're going to have an exciting, are you guys ready for more? Yeah. There you go. Do I have to get them to stand up? You know what I'm saying? I know, really. I'll make you do all of it. Joseph, I'll show you I can do some of that. You know what I'm saying? All right. So without any further ado, she's changing the planet. She's making a difference. She's a thought leader. We'll just talk about where you just got back from and have fun doing that. But let's give it up for Becky Robbins. Could you see Joseph and I could hardly sit still? Isn't that just terrible? No. Oh, God, I can't. I was like ready to move the whole time. So, Becky, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, wow. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here in front of you. It's such a privilege to be here with you, Michael. Thank you. Wow, there's so much. I've lived a long time, so there's quite a lot of bit about me. I'm going to tell you that I'm an artist, and art found me. I'm not a trained artist. I never went to art school. And I love that I can say that I'm an artist because we are all creators. And I want to talk a little bit more about creating as we talk a little bit about that. Also, I'm writing a book, and the title of the book is going to be Brave. And there's a reason for that, which I'm excited about that. And yeah, and then I'm in a bookstore. I mean, for God's sake, I'm in a bookstore, which I'm so happy we still have books, and that we hold books in our hands and we read books. It's something that I love. And the other thing I'm doing, I'm creating a television show, which is a really magical television show, and it's called The Art of Art. And that came to me, I'll tell you more about that. And that's all about creation also. And we'll talk about that. And let's see, what else can I tell you? I'm speaking around the world in different contexts and different topics, which has really been fun for me. And I love travel, and I have 3 kids and 4 grandchildren. So I know my life is so rich. So.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, the minute you said just about the grandchildren, we could talk about that all night long, but we won't do that tonight. You know, when we first met, and it wasn't that long ago, so we were introduced by Mary Glorfield. Mary Glorfield, who I've worked with for years, you've known for a long time, is somebody who's produced events in 82 countries. Give that a round of applause. For millions of people, and she is just the most loving woman on this planet. So she's just great. So I'm glad she brought this all together. But why don't you talk a little bit about, I was very intrigued when you talked about the film project, because it has so much around it to give back. I'd love you to talk about that.
The show, The Art of Art. Well, this actually came to me in a meditation. So when something, and I'm a meditator, so when something comes to me like that, when I'm, you know, that rare time you get into that kind of space where there's nothing, you know, it's all silent, nothing's happening, you feel that some kind of a shift or something, and then all of a sudden this thought came to me, like, remember James Lipton? This is exactly how it came. Remember James Lipton and Inside the Actor Studio? That was a long time ago. I mean, I don't even know how old I was when that happened. And then the next thing was, go do that. I thought, oh my gosh, what does it even mean? So what that meant was for me to interview people who are creators in various different endeavors. And the idea has morphed a little bit, and it's so incredible because, like, we are all creating everything that we're wearing, everything that we're touching, sitting on, everything has been created by somebody who had an idea, right? And then you have an idea, and then you decide you're going to do something with it. And then I got this idea from this phrase from my daughter, who's acting teacher in an improv class, that this is a place where you can dare to suck, because you're going to suck at something before you're good at it. So then you have to dare to suck, because you're going to suck at something for a while. I mean, think about it, learning to play the guitar, like Joseph, you play the bass. Like, how long did it take you with your fingers hurting before you, and then you finally decided, I'm going to keep on going and keep on, and then you finally get good at it, right? I have guitars hanging on my wall to keep reminding me that I have to keep trying because I still suck. So you have to get over the dare to suck part before you're really good at something. And then when you get good at it, you have to figure out how to market it. And that's a whole other thing for creators to do. So the show is called The Art of Art, which I'm so proud of. And we're creating the final sizzle reel right now before we pitch it. And this is all secret stuff. So by the way, I can't get out of this room. So we switched it up a little bit, because in the beginning I was interviewing people that were already using the products, and then I thought, wait a minute, I want to go back and find the people who actually made it, like the guy who's the cobbler who made the shoes that Elton John will only wear on stage. Like, what does it take to even think of being someone like the cobbler that would do that? Or like a good friend of mine is Nathan East, who's an amazing bass player, and his son Noah. And I've interviewed them, and I said, wait a minute, have you guys ever, they're sponsored by Yamaha in Japan. And I said, have you guys been to, he was in Japan last week with Eric Clapton. I said, have you even been to the Yamaha factory to see how a bass is made or how a piano is made? He said, I haven't even done that. I mean, think about that. I'm an artist, a painter, and it came to me one day I was painting, and my favorite paint is Old Holland paint. And I thought, how does paint even get in a tube? How does that even happen? So that's another show, as we're going to do in Amsterdam, like going back to the paint factory and seeing all the stuff that it takes, and then the people who use them. So that's the show. So I'm really excited about that show, because my goal is that the public can see what can be inspired to maybe go and create something, or at the very least appreciate what it took to do that. And the last thing I'll say about that is I just got back from India. I went on an amazing trip to India, and I got off the plane. I was walking, at the jetway, and it was one of those big 380s, those huge planes. And I turned around and looked at it, because I was thinking, that plane, everything that plane is made out of, came out of this earth. I mean, think about that. Nothing's been trucked in from other planets to make everything that we're using, everything we're right now using. It's all come from this planet. I mean, to me, that's a sacred thing to think about. It's a bigger thing than we even think about. To have that, the grace of that we can create out of everything that we're experiencing.
You know, my mind gets stuck at certain times, and it did when you said like how paint gets in the tubes. I can't stop thinking about you got to do a show, right? Does anybody know how paint gets in the tubes? Look at that, one. Okay, so, but it's the kind of thing that it changes people's perspective, because it's the things that we didn't think about, or it's you're bringing it back to the original. It's like the creator, right? And I think that's really brilliant what you're doing, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to, whatever you need, we'll promote it, because I think that's what people need to know. I think that's the kind of thing where sometimes we just do things without thinking about it, but it's like, how did that truly happen, and how did that person get that, even the inspiration? And it's like, okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to put it in a tube, and that's the stuff that makes us better than who we are, makes us better every single day. So give Becky a round of applause for that. And you talked about also writing a book. And so what's your inspiration for that? And talk a little bit more about that, because we are in Barnes & Noble.
The book came as a result of me telling a story about, and I already told it on the last time when we were interviewing for the LA Tribune. Well, I could tell you the story about Becky in a tiger cage. Do you want to hear that story?
Yes.
Let's hear it. Yep.
Were you there, Joseph?
I think I was.
Oh my God. Well,
Yes, I was. Yes.
okay, hard to forget, right? So I'm going to tell you the story the way that I told the story to a friend of mine, an amazing man whose name is Steve Hardison, and he was a mentor for me for a couple of years, and it was an incredible experience for me. So here's the story of the tiger cage. So at our big giant events long ago, when I was there, we would a couple times a year we would do one with lots and lots of people, and everybody's outside the door waiting to get in, and they're all excited and can't wait to get in. And those are the shows that we would do, like laser and fire and loud music, and everybody's screaming and yelling. And we would prepare the opening to be really special for people. And we would usually bring in someone like from the David Copperfield group to teach us a big magic trick. So this time was this big magic trick there was a tiger backstage. I wouldn't do this again because I now feel bad for the tiger. But there was a tiger backstage brought in from somebody in LA. And the day before, I got to go backstage where it was really dark and nobody's allowed to go back there and see this tiger in the cage. It was an actual big tiger. So now it's the night of the event. And so everybody's allowed in the room. People are screaming and running to the front, trying to get a front row seat. And I walk out on stage and everybody's clapping, and here's Becky Robbins, and I'm introduced, and whatever the music was that was going on at the time. And now my job is to walk up these little steps and climb in this cage. And it was about this far off the ground, big cage. And I'm in the cage and I'm holding onto the bars and everybody's clapping and I'm acting scared because I actually was really freaking scared. Because behind me, behind this thin piece of cardboard, like an Amazon box thickness, I promise you, was the tiger. And it was shoved in the back like a false wall, shoved in the back of me. And this tiger was breathing down my neck. And the tiger was growling and making tigers, whatever the sound that they make. And it was like so terrifying because I only had one opportunity to get it right. So now this guy is, the magician comes out and he throws a big black shroud over the whole thing. And so now it's pitch black in there. And my job in that moment, I only have seconds to do this, was to reach down between my feet and to pick up like a little, like a ring pull that you're pulling up. So it was a trap door in the bottom of the cage. And then there was another trap door that was the top of the stairs that I had climbed up to get in the cage. And I had to slide my body down into the stairs. You know how stairs go like that? So I had to slide my body down into the stairs. If I would have dropped that first ring pull in the dark, that was the mechanism that would allow the back of that cage to come in. I would have been in that cage with that tiger. I know, right? So I did it right. Here I am. Thank you. I'm still alive. And And then they wheeled me off the stage, and then I had to climb out of that thing and run to the back of the house, huge big convention center kind of thing. So, it's a long run to get all the way to the back, climb up on a podium in time for the light to shine on the tiger, and everybody's clapping, and then the light comes back and shines on me at the back of the room, and everybody's clapping. So here's the point of the story and why the book Brave is happening. It's because I was telling Steve Hardison, this is so intimate for me to tell you this is truth. I was telling Steve Hardison this, and he said, and I got to the end of the story, I said, so guess what? I guess Becky was disposable. He said, wait a minute, what did you say? I said, wow, I didn't even realize I said that. And it was a feeling that I truly had. And I thought, oh my God, that's so crazy. And so I was telling this story in England a year and a half or something ago. And I started telling, and this is a big thing that is so exciting for me now, because I've been telling this story and things are changing a little bit. I was telling a story about, and I've told it again, and that's part of the book, is about victims and villains. And we can all relate to that in some context, right? And we can create ourselves being a victim, and we might be justified in feeling like a victim, whether it's a victim of, I felt like a victim of the stock market a couple of weeks ago. I had to quit looking at it, like, okay. Or a victim of, whatever. But victims need villains. And then you just create another victim and another villain, and you just keep going down that pathway until you finally realize there's only one way out of that. There's only one way out of that. You have to let it go. And I thought that, how am I going to let this go? Because there's only one way out, and it creates perfect freedom. If you can let go of the whole story about all of that. Not easy, but so valuable. And so I was telling this story, and I'm writing a book about more than just that, but because freedom is forgiveness, and forgiveness is to forgive yourself for having those kind of feelings. You could even do that in the first place. And that leads me to another story.
Okay. Watching the timekeeper. She just gave us time, but
how are we?
we're timed. Go ahead.
We're done?
Hey, you go ahead.
Okay, well, the story is that about forgiving ourselves is because we forget how important we are and that we're here for a reason. And if the odds of us even getting born on this planet, there's a whole beautiful video that I showed when I was speaking last. The odds are something like 90,000 zeros after, to the power of something for us to even be here, for us to even be on this planet was some kind of a divine intention for each one of us to even be here. So we have to honor ourselves in that regard. So how could we even think of ourselves as not being so incredibly important to mankind? And so I'm just grateful for all of that.
Give Becky a thumbs up. Thank you. And I know we have to go, but that made me feel different at the moment. Just being up here with you for this moment, because we were given this moment, how important every single moment is, and we'll take them until whatever the next step is. So give Becky a thunderous round of applause. You will be seeing a lot more of Becky and hearing a lot more of Becky. And again, Becky, will you be able to stay with us till the end? I don't remember. Okay, great. So again, everybody who's going to be up here will be able to stay afterwards, so you can chat with them, talk to them, just spend a little time with them. Everybody got that? And then we go from there. So I'll do this really quick. This next gentleman I'm about to bring up, there's those times where you meet people, it almost sounds like a dating service. But what happened was I was flying down here, right? Down to LA. And I'm in first class, always sit in first class because you never know who you're going to meet, right? That's why you sit in first class. And next to me is this gentleman that I'm about to bring up, Trevor Boone, and next to him is a guitar. And it has its own seat. And there's no way, we're flying and we're watching, and I don't want to bug him, but by the end I finally had to just say, what's that about? And that's how we met. And this next gentleman, he's coming all the way from Seattle, Emerald City guitar. I got it right? Did I get it? Because sometimes I mess that up. He's got quite the history. I'm going to let him tell you, but that story of that guitar we could do the whole night on that one. But give it up for Mr. Trevor Boone. What do you want? Right there is good. Right, because they keep telling me stop moving, right? So, and sitting's hard, isn't it? It's tough. Chris, you're a guitarist. So we did a live stream with Sheila E, and then we had Trevor come up, and I asked, on the live stream, and Trevor just happened to have the guitar, right? Your guitar was next to you, and I had him play, and that was freaking awesome. So anyways, Trevor, tell us a little bit about yourself and the history of Emerald City.
Hi guys, I'm like humbled. I didn't know this was like what exactly I was walking into. I just flew in like 2 hours ago, and Michael, you're so awesome, dude. I feel really honored to be among Justin and Becky. Is really cool. So I'm Trevor Boone. I'm coming from Seattle, Washington, and I grew up in a little funky guitar shop. My dad was an old rocker back in the day. Had a, we were just talking about it, a really crappy record deal. Had a brief kind of moment in the sun, and started a family, and was like, what am I going to do? I can't be on the road and all that. And started a funky little store in Seattle, Washington, and kind of secondhand stuff. And I grew up in that, kind of surrounded by wolves, musicians and stuff, and worked in recording studios, played in bands, and really loved working at the family shop. And, the biggest thing to me, obviously, I loved guitars and what we were dealing with, but it was like truly kind of, I always say I collect people, rather than guitars, just the cool experiences. They're such intimate objects, a lot of heartbreak, lonely hours, and all those, writing songs. They're just a really kind of intimate, tangible thing. So, we started in this little store, and it was kind of this time where the old school guitar shops were no internet, no nothing. You went to trade shows and whatnot. And I was into it, man. I was like playing music, recording studio, just loved every aspect of it. And it was kind of this time where the internet was coming out. So a lot of these older shops were kind of dying out, where I was able to kind of catch this wave and jump on and be kind of young enough to cling on to like where it was going internet wise. So that expanded the shop quite a bit. I basically took it global with kind of online presence, and fast forward, to now, we do a cool, obviously Instagram, several different sites. We have a cool YouTube channel. We're working on a show right now, and but it's really like, we talked about this earlier. So we said, what's something that you learned in this industry? And honestly, my philosophy is like less of me, less is more. I'm really like farm to table, finding old instruments that are out in the middle of nowhere, in barns and family, heirlooms, and honoring those guitars, telling the story through YouTube channel. I think we're losing a little bit here, but I can talk loud if we are. And then kind of lacing up collectors that are rock stars, and a lot of my clientele is like guys like John Mayer, Santana, Jason Momoa, who was that was the guitar that I was bringing down. Eric Clapton, Sheryl Crow, and all those guys. It's I've kind of become this network, and because these people know how intimate. I think we're losing this here.
I think they're playing with your sound.
Okay, sorry. Am I just yakking too loud? I do that. Yeah. So my thing right now is really storytelling. This YouTube channel, we have hundreds of videos with 50 episodes of me going all around the U.S., out of the country, hanging out with these families, and like lending my ear to like the past life of the guitar, and then finding where it's going next, kind of being the matchmaker there from mainly from the 50s and 60s instruments that have been dormant in sheds and garages, and then up on stage with 70,000 people kind of thing. So that's a little bit of my story. Sorry, but didn't really know what to say and what was going on here, man.
So I didn't prep them at all, right? We were there to play with the sound again, but I was on vacation in Hawaii. You were on vacation in Hawaii, different island though, and we kept trying to, and I'm like, we just went with it, right? Yeah. See, and you did. You said, I'm flying down. I'm there. It's great. Part of it was that the story that you told me is, to me, it's fascinating that all these instruments have these kind of stories, and the people that you've hung out with, it's the greatest guitarist, and it's also the story of the guitar. Does that make sense? That there's a history behind it that they bring to it. Can you just tell one story of one guitar for you that just holds your heart and meant so much?
I'm going to share a story just because it's dear to me, and something just happened with it just yesterday. So there was an instrument recently. There's an amplifier called the Dumble amplifier. It was made in Santa Cruz in the 70s. this like total crazy kind of mad scientist guy who made the best amplifiers in the world. They're basically tailored to like these amazing musicians, guys like Jackson Browne. John Mayer's got 27 of them or something, and they're hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you find them kind of hidden all over the U.S. And I got a call last November, or I'm sorry, it was September, 6 months, 8 months ago, wherever it is. That's all over the place. And this guy calls and he goes, "I've got a Dumble I bought brand new in 1970 from Howard. I was an old hippie rocker back in the day, and we heard about this guy tinkering amps, and I brought my guitar down to his like little tiny shop, and he had one of the earliest Dumbles ever made. And he happened to be like an hour away from Seattle. So I had just flown back. I got this call. I said, dude, I'll be there. And this needs to be honored. This story is so cool. Can I bring my video guy?" And he was cool with it. So I got to this out in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours outside of Seattle, this kind of funky plot of land. And this old rocker comes out, he's kind of excited. You can see that. He got his leather jacket on, and he's like living out of a trailer out there. And he had a little, literally, it was a chicken shack that he had this amp stored in. And really amazing, sweet guy. And I just, you kind of go there and you just go, dude, I gotta put my hands up and just like be a vessel for this, because something's cool here. I want to catch this story, and that's been a big key to these videos that we do. I spent this day with this guy. He had the craziest history, man. He played an amazing band all around California. He played slide funk banjo. That was what the amp was made for. We did this whole amazing video, profiled him, got all these cool stories, ended up finding a high-profile artist to buy this guitar or this amp for a ton of money, changed the guy's life, and it would kind of give him a moment in the sun. And he's about 80 years old. He passed away last Thursday, and I just heard about this 2 days ago, and I just rolled up this last text that I got from him, and just to kind of show you guys what it's about, he said, "It was a pleasure meeting and hanging out with you. It gives an old rocker like me a dose of legitimacy, a kind of affirmation of thousands of hours of rehearsals and gigging. Thank you for your attention and great attitude." And man, it was just lending an ear to this guy and hearing the story. And, we're out there. It was so cool. Like, he had his little dusty hat on, his leather jacket. And some of the other, there's like a trailer park queen that came out. "What? Who are these guys, Justin?" Lights, cameras. Dude, it was so cool. And I just tried to step back and listen to the guy, man. And we did an amazing video. It's available on YouTube right now. It's got a ton of views, and everybody's like, "This guy's amazing." It's like, that was what it's about. Giving this guy that was just kind of living the last days out in hibernation, and he had a story to tell. And people care about that. They happen to have an amazing piece, and it's with somebody who's going to take on a whole new life. So that's one that was really close to me, that just kind of had a second kind of chapter to it the last couple of days I thought I'd share.
But it is about the stories, right? And it's about the people that you work with that make such a difference. And part of for me to see that guitar sitting next to you is I knew there had to be a story. And I think that's what caught me. It's like either that's your guitar and you really like that thing, or it's the people behind. And I think that's because the instruments themselves sing. The instruments, right? A great instrument, it has its own life, but it's the stories and people behind it that make such a difference. Where do you see yourself going? And this is great because he's younger than me, but in the next 10 years with everything you're creating?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the cats that I came out with is working the next couple of days in LA. That's Tyler Gaske. He's like the leading guitar tech and luthier of, and he's in his early 30s. I'm 36. And so we're kind of this new generation and trying to be these strong advocates. Because again, this is an important thing, guitars, vintage music, and it's kind of in the hands of a generation that doesn't really know what to do with these stories and the importance of it. So I just really want to be a strong advocate for kind of carrying the torch and, just sharing what it is. I mean, there's some really great younger dealers that are starting to rise, and, try not to gatekeep or just feel like everybody can eat, everybody can find cool guitars. They're all around. Just keep it like a really cool, positive kind of community, and I think that's what it's about, man.
By the way, if Trevor's podcast, if we run it on our channel, would you guys listen to it? Give that a round of applause. Somebody's telling me that was out there too. We're almost done with time. But first of all, thank you for coming, because I literally told you nothing, right? I literally told you nothing.
I thought you wanted to look at some books or something.
See that? There's books of you didn't even know. But just with the minute or two that we have left, what do you want to leave especially our international audience with, really, when it comes to music and playing an instrument? Because a lot of people pick it up and they don't. They pick it up and they don't. Where did you find the love of the guitar?
You know, I think Becky said this earlier, there's a love-hate thing. You kind of fight it back and forth. I think that's with anything important that you love, you know, and you know, I just think it's in any world, any tangible thing, you know, that somebody finds important, and there's stories there, and man, it just like explodes your interest and really can just inspire you. So, you know, if you're battling with the guitar, open a book on guitars. You know, I've been doing that, just going back to all these kind of cheesy coffee table books that people have given me in the past, and you know, dealing with really high-end vintage guitars. It's like I went back to, like, you know, basic book on guitars. It's like, shit, man, it's like, it reminds me of when I first started playing and having fun and keep it fun, you know, and tip your local musicians if you see them playing, man. They all need help too, and they're working their ass off, and it's not easy out there. So
give a thunderous round of applause for Mr. Trevor Boone. Thank you. You know, that's really, it's sort of like you look at the next generation, and he's already talking about the next generation. Isn't that great? So it just makes me feel younger and younger. But it is really, that is the kind of thing that, and I'm a big introvert, but you never know who's sitting next to you, and you never know what that story is. So sometimes it is the time, you know, I put the headphones on. Who gets on a plane, by the way? Who's ever flown here? Raise your hand if you've ever flown anywhere. Who puts your headphones on the minute you get on that plane? Raise your hand. Don't lie. There we go. Okay. So that was one of those moments where I did, but there was enough of a flight that eventually it kept hitting me. I'm like, I got to ask the question. And look what we have going on now. Look at, I can bring him to stage. I can bring their story up. Becky, it's actually a great story there's a great story that he's got within what he does. And we build those relationships together. With that being said, the next gentleman, so what we're going to do is I'm going to bring up the next gentleman. And you like that? Is that good? And then we're going to move to some panels. And the panels are really for you to listen. The panels are there'll be different information, and they're all going to give you one thing you can do to take away. So really listen to that. When the panels are done, we'll be done about 8:15. We'll do Joseph's book signing. We'll have some red carpet. We have some just networking and spending time together. You'll see Barnes & Noble breaking down this area. Don't feel that means you have to leave. Does that make sense? So we'll throw you out when we throw you out. But just meet some new people, make some friends. From myself and the Los Angeles Tribune, we're always thankful to bring this to you. Make sure you're at our next event, July 17th. I can tell you next week, starting May 1st to May 7th, actually now May 8th, we have the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Show. Last year we had almost 2 million views. Give that a round of applause. And we're going to bring the best of the best every single day to you. And you just go to the Facebook page for the Los Angeles Tribune. You can watch it all day long. How's that? Joseph will be part of that. Lefty, who I'm about to bring up, as part of that. Trevor, I got to get you on that. I got to get you booked in. And we have Jim Quick as part of that. Dean Graziosi is part of that. There's just more and more. Oh, Gene Simmons. Becky's part of that. Give Becky a thunderous round of applause again. I was here. We've got Gene Simmons just said yes, even though he's on tour. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's informational. It's just informational every single day. So without any further ado, this next gentleman, you know, he's got a great story. I'm going to let him tell you. And I've only known him I don't even know, a month? Is that it? It's changed my life already, because the way we talked about things that we look at, which is the next generation and how that and what that means to us and how we look at our families and take care of our families, really grounded me in that, how important that is. And how not only my kids, I always talk about my grandkids, and my kids are like, we're still here. But my kids and that importance of moving through what we do, he has not only been seen and played in, is it 30 countries? 35 countries by millions and millions of people. Let's give it up for Harold Lefty Williams. Awesome. How you doing? Good. So, you know that famous question I've asked everybody so far. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was born to Harold Gathers and Rita Williams as Harold Jermaine Williams, but I'm affectionately known all over the world by the name of Lefty, but my wife of 20 years still refused to call me Lefty. But, I'm a former member of the world famous Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
I became the first ever left-handed showman in Globetrotter history. Played overseas. I was in and out of different NBA vet camps, NBA summer leagues. I was in the summer league with the Memphis Grizzlies. I had a great career, and then my act two, or my fifth quarter, so to speak, playoff basketball, but I managed my children. My kids work for Disney. My oldest son was the lead of the reboot of the Wonder Years. So I'm really happy for that. And he's working on quite a few animations he was the lead of Puppy Dog Pals. So if you saw these little puppies, toys are all around, that's the son, the lead voice in them. He was Bingo. My oldest daughter voiced Moon Girl for the toy for Disney, the animation. My youngest son just finished filming with Tim Allen, and he was on Abbott Elementary. So we're in the background of that. Many of you who are out here like me, who are married, you're smart enough to marry above your pay grade. So I did just that by marrying my wife, Shanifa Williams, who is an author. She's an amazing cook, and she's the co-founder of the Harold Lefty Williams Dare to Dream Foundation.
Okay, give that a round of applause. So, and how old are you? Yeah. But, you know, I think that's a really big piece, is that generational piece. Teresa, okay, she's good, you got it. I think that's a really big, it's that generational, really what you're creating there. Because some people, it's really about that legacy piece that you're doing. The other thing too, I wanted to just, I'll be aware of time, but that I think is really important is not only the foundation, but the book. So he has, we just did the book cover, which I think actually was done really well. Yeah, is that pretty good? Is that? It wasn't me, but it was pretty good. And can you talk a little bit about your book? Because when another time that we come together, we'll be showing your book. We'll have much more on that. But I think your book is going to change a lot of lives, and that's why I'm here, is to make a difference. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I need a little bit of volume, but can you hear me clearly? So I wrote this book about almost 7 years ago. It was really like a session for me to kind of break through, work through. Thank you, you're so amazing. To work through some things within myself as I began to go within myself to work on myself. I didn't know that years later I would dust it off the shelf and say, well, now's the time for it to help other people. So the title of the book is called The Art of Rebounding. And no, it's not a basketball book. Although I was a great rebounder. I was a 1,000-point scorer in high school. I was the third best player in the state of New Jersey. There were two people who were ahead of me. One by the name of Jason Williams. He went to the University of Duke. He was drafted in #2 overall pick to the Chicago Bulls. The other player was DeJuan Wagner. He went to the University of Memphis, and he was drafted the 18th pick in the first round to the Cleveland Cavaliers the year before LeBron was drafted. So, and then there was me. So I was an amazing rebounder. I was an amazing scorer. And I just felt like people needed a book about bouncing back. And oftentimes things in my life, doors have been delayed or slammed shut because of the fact that I was not in a great position. So there's many things that I've learned about in my young 43 years of living on this earth is that you need to be in position. So I know what it's like to have multi-million-dollar deals on the table closed in my face, and then have to turn around and say, what's next? And then keep moving and keep elevating and constantly, keep going from level to level, or what we say, me and my wife say at home, is the glory to glory. So in order to do that, you have to block out everything, every opposition in your way, every opposition in your path, in order for you to be confident enough to trust what you heard, right? So it's here in the book. I talk about hear, trust, experience. So you got to be in a place where you can hear, right? So all these people who are talking negative to you, talking crazy, and just helping you run from your confidence or your vision, you got to get rid of those people. Right? So that's the hear. Then we talk about the trust. You got to come to a place where you can trust what you heard, even when you don't feel confident. I don't know about you, but I've come to a place in my life with certain things, but I didn't always feel quite confident about it. I was sure of it, but I just wasn't quite confident because it just didn't go the way I envisioned it, right? So you got to hear, you got to trust, and then you just have to experience. You just got to go. And one of the things that's helped me be successful in life, whether it be in my own career or in the careers of my children, is just experience it. Do it afraid. Do it anyway, right? And so a lot of times my kids and my wife will probably say to you, man, my husband's the most confident dude I know. I'm definitely the most competitive in my family, for sure, definitely. But the truth is, Michael, is that I do it like this, cutting blindly, hoping like that this. I hope this is the path. But then I'm turning back. I'm saying, come on, this is the way, right? And then, for me, more times than often, it's led to some big things. My son, we helped him go to #1. He was the first ever he was the first African American lead child actor on a network primetime series since Jaleel White, Family Matters, and that was 30-something years. Yeah, he did it, man. And then he turned around and won a Peabody Award, which is like, it's like the highest, I guess it's like a Medal of Honor type thing for what they were working on. So I just say with this book, it's about repositioning. I talk about in the book the weight of the weight, the WEIGHT of the WAIT. This book is really going to be a blessing to you, and if it doesn't, it was a blessing to me. So, but I talk about the weight of the weight, because oftentimes, I don't know by a show of hands, how many of you have ever felt like the weight of something while waiting on something? And there's been times when you felt you were so close and you were right there, and then it seems like as soon as you keep digging and you're almost there and you want to give up, you feel that's when I felt the more weight of it, right? But that's when you're close, right? And then in the book I talk about close and close, right? Is the door closed or are you close, right? So we play on different words, but it's all about positioning yourself to bounce back from any force of impact in your life, because you can rebound. I had to dare to dream while living a nightmare. I was mentally and physically abused by the hands of my father because he was an alcoholic and he was addicted to heroin. But don't feel sorry for me, because the flip side of that was the last 7 years of his life, I really got to understand the man of who he was. I helped restore his life. I held him accountable to his own healing. And the last 7 years of his life was like the best fatherly years, for me, from my father. And so it's just so much that we get into in the book. I'm really excited about the art of rebound.
Give that a round of applause. I am too, actually. The more I get to know you, it's great. So we actually only have a couple minutes left. Should we do the next generation piece? You want to do? Here, I'm going to let you do the intro.
So coming to the stage is a gentleman who came to grade kindergarten reading on the first grade level, classified as highly gifted. That's all of his mother. It's not me. So let's bring up my son, Elisha E.J. Williams.
Yeah, give me that applause. There you go. I know. Dad's bringing you up. Go ahead. Have a seat over there.
So let's just talk about young success, right? Because you've experienced some success at a very, very, very young age. How old were you when you first started acting, and then when you got 1 year?
I feel like I should just do an introduction. So I'm very young. I'm Elisha E.J. Williams, everybody. I'm his son. So. But when it comes to entertainment, it's something, everybody has something that they feel like this is what I really want to do. And it's never really, you never get to the point where it's too late to figure out what it is that you want to do in your life. I was fortunate enough to figure out what I wanted to do at a very young age. So cameras, television, and impact, changing lives is what I've always wanted to do, whether that be making you laugh, making you cry, or just motivating you to stop being lazy. So when it comes to the whole entertainment piece, it really started at 3. I remember when I was younger, I did something called Right This Minute. That was a segment. They used to come on late at night. But I was on there for a little bit. But I started the whole entertainment thing when I was probably about 8 years old. And like I said, it just came from me figuring out what it is that I want to do in life. I think that everybody in here has probably had a moment when they were younger, when they saw somebody on TV, it was like, that's what I want to be on TV. Whether that be a game show or just acting. For me, it was when I used to watch Disney Channel when I was younger. I remember I watched the show and I saw LeBron James come on the television, and like the studio started clapping because it was like, oh my God, it's LeBron James. I was like, that's what I want to do. So from that to feeling the embrace of myself doing a play when I was younger, that was really it. When I could see how much of my presence and what I had to say was cared for in an environment for people who were willing to listen. And not just listen, but actually take heed to what it is that I'm saying, to use it in their day-to-day life at such a young age. That's what made me want to do it. Pertaining to Wonder Years, it got to the point where we were doing a process, we started acting, things like that. I want to say by the time Wonder Years came, we were about 2.5, 3 years in. And I was towards the end of not wanting to really do it anymore because you don't just jump into something and be successful right away. It's not how it works, but you can't really tell an 8-year-old that, so. It was more difficult. But we were doing things. I've had so many different people who I looked up to, tell me I wasn't this or I wasn't that. And it was heartbreaking, because these are people who I've known my entire life. And even while I was through the journey trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do, who I wanted to paint my careers after them. And I finally get a chance to meet them. And they're like, hey, kid, you're not it. So a lot of people, they stop. I got to the point where I thought that that's what I wanted to do. But a little audition called The Wonder Years came up. And, I didn't really know much about the original. But for me, I'm never going to give up an opportunity. So I looked at it. I did the best of what I thought I could. And 8 months later after that, I was on ABC. So there you go.
So, last question. So how do you feel, there's more to it. He wanted to do it because my oldest daughter wanted to do it. She's the reason we got in this business. I said no for 3 years because we didn't move to LA for that. It's a whole other conversation for another day. Maybe that's a family book. But the last question I'll give you would be, man, it's a hard question. I'll give you the last question, Michael, if you like. Okay. So the last question I would say for you is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to follow a dream? Obviously, my slogan is a delay is not a denial, and failure is the road to success. Just be sure that you take the right exit. But what advice would you give to someone who wants to dream? You remember I used to drive past the Jackson's house on Havenhurst, and I tell my kids all the time in Encino, hey man, y'all gonna be as big as the Jacksons. I used to tell them this all the time, to actually get in a phone call and they want us to come to the house and we hanging out with the Jacksons. Like that was crazy within itself, right? But it's a whole nother conversation. What advice would you give, to someone who wants to be in this space or wants to follow their dream?
I think the biggest thing is always address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is get your lazy behind up and do what it is that you do. That's the first one. The second thing I would say is just really, really, really ask yourself, what is it that I want to do? Do I really want to do this, and why? Once you figure out why you want to do it, you'll stop questioning and having so much doubt. Like I said, I got to a point where I was getting told no so much to the point where I thought it was my name. So it was frustrating, but when you realize you're doing this for, not other people, and I know it's a simple answer, a lot of people say it, but it's so true. Like when you learn that you're doing things for yourself and you're doing things, it's bigger than you, but when you're doing it because you love it and you know what your goal is, when you have, your plan in mind, just stick to it, because there are so many different signs throughout the journey. You never know, like they say, how close you'll be. I remember one time, and this was in the beginning, like he said, he told us no. We were in a restaurant that they're unfortunately making a Chick-fil-A now. But we were in a restaurant and we were eating, and this lady came up to us, and she was just staring at me and my siblings, and I was with my father, and she tapped my dad and was like, I'm sorry, but you just make beautiful kids. And we were a little taken back by it, but he was like, thank you. You know, she was like, you should really try to get them into the entertainment space. My husband, he's in Hawaii right now directing the new Jurassic Park movie that was about to come out. It was like 2018. So we got back to the car, and my dad, out of curiosity, was like, who directs the Jurassic Park movies? You know?
No. She got those voice.
Yeah, she brought this And, you know, he was like, well, who directs these movies? And we were talking to Steven Spielberg's wife. And we didn't know. So, you know, there's so many different signs, and you never know what it is that you need to do or who's going to come into your life to really show you, hey, man, what you're doing is good. So, you know, just keep going at all costs, and you never know how far you'll get.
Give them a thunderous round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. You know, we're going to talk too about generational. We're really looking at doing that for podcasting and with everything we're going to do. So Lefty and I are going to have a longer talk about that and how we're going to present that. So give that a round of applause. Because I think it's that, you know, it is, you know, they talk about the lessons that they've learned, and there's so much to come, but you never stop learning. So please never stop learning no matter what you do. You know the word retire? Take that out of here. Just take that, right? Just keep doing it, keep doing it. That's like Zig Ziglar. The day they put me in the box, we're done. But, you know, and then who knows what else past that. Have you had a good night so far? Okay, so now it's time for the panels. Now it's time to really, again, take a listen to the individuals, what they have to teach you, what you have to learn, the one thing you have to take away. For myself and the Los Angeles Tribune, I want to thank you so much all for being here. We're going to continue on, and I'm going to now turn the show over. Is that okay? You had enough of me already, right? I've been up here enough. But and don't go anywhere, you know, unless you need to leave, right? And there is restrooms back there, but you're not allowed to use those until, right, just another 45 minutes, and then we're done, and then we can all play and talk and have fun together. So without any further ado, because we got to keep the show moving along, let's give it up. You know what, actually, let's do this. Watch this. Everybody, please stand up. Awesome. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Give a thunderous round of applause for Miss Marisa Rose.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I would actually love, Michael, if you could be our timekeeper. I'm announcing this live.
Really?
Yes, I need you to be our timekeeper. All right, I'd love to bring up our panelists, our podcast panelists. Go ahead, y'all know who you are. Come on up. Come on up, come on up. We've got some awesome, go ahead and fill in these chairs. I will go ahead and stand next to y'all. So, yeah, so go ahead and take a chair, and if not, then go ahead and stand behind and stagger yourselves. Make sure we're still in the frame. We're good. We're good. Awesome. Okay, so we have quite a few of you here right now, and I'm so excited to see all of your faces. Hi, if we haven't said hi yet, hi. Hi. So I would love for each one of you, we're going to go down the line. We're going to pass this mic down the line to the next person to your right. I would love for you all, in less than a minute, to share your name, first of all, your name, and then a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christina Castanini, and I host a podcast, Behind the Bite, that is about eating disorders and body image issues, and I also have a clinical practice up in the Bay Area in California.
Hey everybody, especially those tuning in online. I'm Dr. Lisa Tan, and my podcast is called Spark Inner Fire. You want to know what sparked my inner fire? I took a walk with a wild dolphin. Or maybe I should say the wild dolphin walked me. We paced back and forth, and this dolphin had a message for me. And I'll share that on my podcast, so tune in.
Hello everyone, my name is Lauren Fields, and I am obsessed with personal development, so events like this completely light me up. I am the CEO and founder of Fieldswell. It is your destination for transformation. I have the Fieldswell podcast, the Fieldswell Wellness Sanctuary in San Diego, and I'm so grateful to be part of the LA Tribune network because it has really enabled me to have a voice, show up, and get experience speaking and sharing my story.
Hello, my name is Gilo Morgan. I'm CEO and founder of Doctor's Touch. We help people globally erase pain so that they get a better quality of life. Before I go any further, I have to give it up to the 4 speakers who came before us, who shared incredible stories. So you guys are awesome, all 4. I host a podcast called Erase the Pain, and we help people, we interview people who erase pain. So if you have a pain point and you are helping people get better at something, that's who we talk to. And it's physical pain, mental pain, whatever that is, the podcast is called Erase the Pain. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin Schmidt. I am CEO of Bella Vita Santa Barbara and Bella Vita Magazine. And I have a podcast called Living a Bella Vita on the Los Angeles Tribune's podcast network. I love to inspire people, and in my interviews, I really try to dig into what motivates people to get past major challenges in their lives. My company means Beautiful Life, and my father died very, very tragically. He committed suicide right before I was launching my company. And so I'm on a mission really to help people to get over whatever is holding them back from going after their dreams, living a most beautiful and meaningful life, and then sharing that with others. So thanks. I'm so excited to be here. And I just have to give it up for all of these people because it's so nice to actually be in the same room with them. Some of them came from Puerto Rico and other places. And I just love being part of this group. So.
I'm Archie Grass. I'm the host of Dads and Autism Land, and I'm here specifically for autism dads. It's really an underserved market. It's an extremely difficult situation. The name Dads and Autism Land we actually came up with because it's such a good comparison with what these dads are going through. It's a journey that you didn't expect. It's one that you weren't trained for. It's one with so many pitfalls and difficulties and suffering. And what you need to know is that you're not alone, and there's a lot more dads out there that have advice. And really, from hosting this show, I've learned so much. I have a 12-year-old autistic son, Damien, and also a 12-year-old. I'll explain that they're Irish twins. That's stereotypical. And a lot of these dads think they're alone, and it's really sad because we can learn so much from each other, and that's what we're trying to establish.
Hi, I'm Alana Cahun. I am the podcast host of Creating Abundance to Manifest Radiant Health, Wealth, and Happiness. And it's been a joy to be part of the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. I've met all these amazing people and all of you. My husband and I came across the country from New York, and it's all well worth it. I would say in order to create abundant health, wealth, and happiness, it's all three. It's not one, it's not the other. And to bring balance into all of that. And as you bring balance into your checkbook and into your physical health, you bring balance into your spirit and bring happiness into the world.
Thank you, everyone. That was amazing. I love hearing little tidbits about each one of you, or being reminded of the little bits about each one of you, because that means it's like the first introduction often that anyone that's listening or anyone that's here in our audience is getting to really connect with each one of you. So I'd like to dive a bit deeper into connecting with each one of you. And that is, I'd love for each one of you to share the most pivotal piece, the one thing that has anchored you, that has brought you here today, right here, right now. So that one piece that has anchored you.
I have to say, having grandparents who are immigrants, I have a really big sense of what they gave up to be here. And they gave up everything, like their families. And so I was raised having an appreciation for really having success in life. And I don't take education for granted. My grandparents have I think grade 3 education. And so I took opportunities to get educated and to really make the most of life and to help people. And so I just remember the minute it was really pivotal for me when I graduated with my PhD. My grandmother was crying, and I was like, "Why are you crying? Like, I should be crying." She said, "This is the reason why we left. This is the reason we did everything so that, the next generation could be here and have prosperous life." And so I don't take that for granted. And so every day that I do work, there's days I get tired, there's days it's hard. I'm a single mom, I've got 2 kids, but I'm like, no, I need to, I have this opportunity, and I put that into my work each and every day. So I just feel very grateful to have all this opportunity that they didn't have. So they sacrificed, and that's what grounds me. Love it.
Thank you, Christina.
My grandparents died when I was 1, so I didn't actually have a chance to meet my grandparents. But yes, I remember visiting my dad's university. He was the first to graduate from his college, from his village, I should say. And that meant a lot. He went against all family patterns. Everyone said, don't go to college, just go work in the barber shop. That's what everyone did. Or go work in a restaurant. But he went against the grain and he went to college. And that motivated me to go to college. But even after graduating from college, I found myself one late evening where the police were stampeding and kicked open my neighbor's door and arrested him for drug trafficking. And I told myself, how did I get myself into this position? Those dark nights of the soul where I never want another mom to feel like they're alone. And that's what grounds me.
Thank you, Lisa and Christina, for sharing that. Being here and founding Fieldswell is a deeply personal mission for me. I grew up in San Diego, California, just down the road, and I was an athlete from a very young age. I competed in show jumping. Riding horses was my total passion, day in and day out. I was even homeschooled at one point to ride all day. And when I was 14 years old, I was in a horse accident. I woke up 3 days later from a coma and had a traumatic brain injury. Doctors had limiting beliefs about my future, my memory retention, and my ability to go back to school. And thankfully, I had parents who believed in me. And they kind of put me back into the world and said, we're going to keep going with tutors and everyone to help me continue on as normal. And when neurological symptoms started to hit from this event due to a blood spot on my brain, I started to ask the question, why me? Why did this happen to me? And that was until I realized that I could stay a victim to my circumstances, or I could become a visionary. And I could share my story, what I'd been through, my learnings. And that's when I dove into personal development, self-help, trying to stabilize myself when I was going into all these different doctor's offices, hospitals, x-rays, MRIs, trying to figure out a solution to neurological symptoms from this event. And one of this really big moment comes to mind, and it was just over 2 years ago. I stood up on the TEDx stage and I shared my story for the first time, shaking in my cowboy boots. And who was there but Mo Rock, the CEO of the LA Tribune. And so it just goes to show, like, when you show up for your success, when you show up for your story, you never know what's possible. I met Mo Rock, I met Michael Silvers. Michael was like, you're gonna have a podcast. I was like, what do you mean? We just celebrated 1 year of having a podcast. And so that dream is in your heart for a reason. Listen to that.
How many of you know the movie Legally Blonde? Anybody? I have a song that I wrote that's in that movie. I also wrote a song, top 10, that went all around the world with my sister. Just a fun song that we did. It was in the music business, having life, enjoying life. And all that came to an end. Didn't come to an end fast. It came to an end slowly. It's almost like sand in my hand where I watch it all go away. And one day I'm wondering, what am I going to do? Like, anybody else ever get to that point where you're wondering, like, what do I do now? I had to shift, I had to pivot, and it's okay to pivot because you're gonna have to in your life. You're gonna take 5 steps forward, 3 steps back, 10 steps forward, 30 steps back. Life is gonna give you that, and you have to have that fight in you. I created a company, I was sitting in a room much like this, where a guy in front of the stage said he'd made all these millions of dollars, and I was at the back of the room, and I was at the end of my rope. And you know the frazzle stuff at the end of that? I was at the end of that part of the rope as well. I didn't know what to do, but I believed in the guru that said what he had done, and I was able to shift and build something. But the struggle to do that, you have to have not give up in your heart and soul, and you got to surround yourself with people that you want to be like. You have to find those people, and many of them are in this room. Thank the Lord they're in this room. And you surround yourself with them, and slowly, quickly, whatever pace you do it, you'll be able to fight your way and get to a better place. That's what I did over my life story. So I'm looking to help people who have pain. How many of you know someone dealing with enormous pains in their life? Well, there are ways to erase that and get into a better place. That's what we do with our podcast called Erase the Pain. God bless you guys. Yeah.
So literally I got here because my husband drove, and he's here tonight. He's an amazing dad to my daughter who has autism, who's 17, and he is her stepdad, although we hate saying that. He's her dad. So kudos to him for taking that on, and that definitely drives me. And also just the wanting to help people realize that, if I can get through the day and, we're making it work and our daughter's having a tantrum before we're coming here and my husband's coming behind me in another car and we're saying, oh, okay, well, we'll get there when we get there and we're here. You can do what you set your mind to and what you set your heart to. And if you decide before you start to never give up, that is what is going to keep you going. And every single person who is successful out there has had to overcome insane challenges in their lives. And what has gotten them to the point where they are is that they never gave up. And even if they wanted to, they said, you know what, take a beat, turn to God, turn to your friends, and find that inspiration within yourself again. Because when you keep going, that's where the real bounty of life is waiting for you. So.
When you talk about the real stories of autism, it's really difficult because if you go on Facebook and you look at special needs families, you'll see the smiling faces and probably the good occasions. But the fact of the matter is, it's a 24/7 job, and statistically, 80 to 90% of families, end up divorced and broken. The life expectancy of autism is in the mid-30s, and a lot of times it's what you would call a life sentence. It's extremely difficult. There's so much suffering, and for friends, even with high functioning autism, my friend Neil came on the show, and his son last year committed suicide, and he was high achieving. He was, looked like it was fine, but the fact of the matter is, this is an extremely difficult situation, and a lot of people, dads specifically, can't open up about it specifically because nobody knows what it's like except for other dads who are also going through it. So with our show, even getting through the first episode, which if you watch it, I had to cut it. I think at the 20-minute mark because I was crying. And I just couldn't stop because I was thinking about these families that just didn't make it. And for us, my son's 12, so we're doing good. But, it doesn't end. For my son, he has the mentality of a 2 to 3-year-old child. And that's basically what it's like. If you raise kids, that's similar to what it's like, except it stays that way. And the advancement takes years of learning how to put on your shirt, years of learning how to brush your teeth. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't, it just keeps on going. And so, with this show, I'm just trying to give dads a voice, give them an opportunity to talk to other people who really understand what it's like, and then also give, the public an idea of what these special needs families are going through, because there's very few resources. And my wife and I are very lucky that we have some resources, but it could cost upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 a year for the care and the therapy that you need. We go to Central Texas Autism Center, and it's improved over time, but it's a day-to-day battle. And so with my podcast, I'm really just trying to help expose this. And with autism rates increasing, it's really important that people understand what's going on.
So circling back to anchoring, what anchors me is family love, and creativity, and a spiritual path. And so I'm going to start with family. And my mother, God bless her soul, it was her anniversary on Earth's Day of her passing. She was from an immigrant family from Italy. And the story she told us was that she was of 6 children, and they did not have electricity, but she was an avid reader. So she would bring her book out to the street corner and sit under the light and read until her father yelled at her and told her to come in. She then got her way into college, got a scholarship, and ended up graduating Phi Beta Kappa. She was born 1925. So that is a story of resilience and knowing who she was. She needed to read, she needed to study. It was her, and she did it. So I use that as an impetus, like, oh my goodness, my life is so good. I've got this. You've got this. Whenever you think you don't have it, just step back, pause, like you mentioned, take a deep breath in and out, and let it go, and just move on. So a spiritual path, I teach meditation, mindfulness. I love it. I started meditating when I was 16. It is what grounds me. Every single day, I start my day with a meditation, even if that's 5 minutes. So there you go.
Thank you, Alana, for being so responsive to our timekeepers. I would love to have all of you close us off with one word that you can leave the audience with, and for those that are watching online, one word that you'd love to leave them with. The most meaningful word to you, one word only. I know, it's quick. And go.
Love.
Sorry. Not alone.
Okay.
Resilience.
Obsessed.
Discipline.
I can't help but dare to dream.
Hope. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you. And you guys can go ahead and exit the stage and have our next panel on standby, ready to go, because I would like to just welcome back up Miss Alicia, our CSO, Miss Alicia Magnus Lewis. She's going to host our next panel. Miss Alicia.
Hello, everyone. Hope that you've been enjoying books, podcasts, and entertainment. I'm going to ask this to one person in the audience. What is an insight or a reflection that you landed on tonight that you would like to share with the audience today? There's been a lot of gems shared today. Would anyone like to share one insight that they have learned? I have faith in you all. Yes, over here. What's one insight that you've learned that you'd like to share?
I love that everyone who spoke, we could hear the passion and the excitement about what they've been through, but also the challenges, and that they had the passion to bring them through those challenges. And I thought that was really important from every single speaker, and it was magical.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think what we've been seeing today is that everyone has a story within them, and that their story matters, and that their story may have been challenging. They may have heard a lot of no's, but they looked within. They looked within themselves, and they learned something about themselves, and that is what has continuously pushed them and moved them forward. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we are led by our CEO, Mo Rock, our editor-in-chief, Ava Manuel, our VP of the Los Angeles Tribune, Michael. You saw Parisa here, Ronnie's here. We have such a big team, but we're all about elevating people's personal stories. We do that at events like this. We do that through our film division. We do that through celebrating authors. We have a Los Angeles Tribune bestseller experience. And it's all about readers like you nominating books that have impacted your lives. So we don't believe that to be on a bestseller list, you have to sell thousands of books. We just believe that your book has to be impactful and culturally relevant. And everyone's story matters. So we appreciate all of you coming to join us today. And it is my honor to introduce our next panel. We're going to be talking about community, and we're going to be talking about the journey of going within and what that looks like, particularly when you are building community. So I would love to introduce Jessica Lee, who flew in here from New York up to join us. I would also love to introduce Renee Dutton, who is joining us from California. I would love to introduce Mark Najar, who has joined us and has been traveling all around the world. And I would also love to introduce Alicia Doss, who is going to come here and speak about her upcoming book and also her appearance in the upcoming Los Angeles Tribune produced film called The Pillars of Power. So Jessica, Renee, Mark, Alicia, I don't get to say that often. Alicia, meet Alicia. Our names are spelled the same way. It rarely happens. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, and I appreciate you for joining us. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the journey within. I think what's so beautiful about what each and every one of you do is that it's different, but the work that you do is centered around really going within, learning about who you are, and then encouraging and inspiring other individuals to do the same. So Renee, you are the author of the Sunshine Effect book. You are also the leader of the Global Kindness Movement, which is all about celebrating kindness in the world and highlighting and bringing more visibility in the world. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired you to write the Sunshine Effect book, which is a Los Angeles Tribune critically acclaimed bestseller? I have to add that in there. And then also, what inspired you to start the Global Kindness Movement? Because I know that your mission is so intertwined and it's so rooted across those two experiences. So I would love for you to talk about that.
Thank you. It is such an honor to be here with the Los Angeles Tribune. I just love you guys. You are just pure love, pure goodness. And everyone in this room, you can feel that from all of you too. So thank you all for being here. So my life is very different than Elijah's. Am I saying your name right? Mine was kind of God knocking me upside of the head for many, many years until I understood that it's for a reason. It's for a purpose. It's to help people, to share stories, to be vulnerable, which I didn't want to do. I'm an introvert. I'm happy home alone gardening, but that's not why we're here. We're here to help each other. And if you keep getting hit with something over and over, it's because God's talking to you. And I had 9 months with no voice, 6 surgeries. They said I would never talk again. I'm talking. Not only am I talking, I'm writing books. I am a TV show host, the founder of the Global Kindness Movement, and I'm talking too long, making up for all that time without a voice. But I just want
Hi, everyone. It looks like we've just lost sound. We're just having a bit of a tech issue going on in the background here. I'm just trying to communicate and trying to get this happening for us. This has been an amazing event, has it not? We've had Becky Robbins. Like, wow, that was an amazing conversation. Listening to her story about the tiger, right? And then we had Dr. Joseph McClendon giving us some amazing tidbits around how to do pattern interrupts to change this thinking, be, do, have conversations to be able to help us to, up level our lives, go further, faster, and make it matter, right? And I'm just saying how we're going with the tech. Everybody sort of left me to this. So we might have to, unfortunately, wrap this up. There are a couple of more panels that was meant to be live, but what could we do, right? You gotta just pivot and adjust sometimes. We also had Lefty Williams. If you haven't got his book yet, when it launches, The Art of Rebounding, make sure you grab that book. I can't wait to get my hands on that copy of that book. And so this is Jeff Ross tuning in from down under here in Australia, in Tasmania of all places. I was asked to come on and do the virtual tech side of things for today's live stream to be able to support the amazing Barnes & Noble event here in Los Angeles at the Grove. So you've got to love what we've got going on here. Mr. Mo Rock has a vision to take the Los Angeles Tribune global. And one of the big events that we've got coming up from May 1st to May 7th, you would have heard Mr. Michael Silvers talk about it. It is our Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Week. I believe this is our 4th one that we've been running since we've been doing this. I've only been with the Los Angeles Tribune now for the last 6 months, and it's been an absolute blessing to be a part of pulling all this together to help Mary Gloryfield, who was Tony Robbins' former VP there for 18 years, helping Tony Robbins there. So we've been putting together an amazing lineup of speakers. We've got Robert Cowardini, we've got Joseph DiMartini, we've got Joe Vitale, we've got Dean Garossi, we've got Gene Simmons from KISS. The list goes on. We've got Lefty Williams coming back. We've got Becky Robbins. We've got Joseph McClendon coming back. These are just some of the names that I've got coming off the top of my head here. We've got an amazing lineup of Australian speakers coming as well. We've got the Vietnamese Journal. We've got the Women's Journal. We've got the Podcast Network. We've got some amazing speakers. So the speakers that you saw here on the panel today will more than likely be speaking on some panels over the next couple of weeks as well. So if you haven't registered already, make sure you head over to www.lat for Los Angeles Tribune, leadershipweek.com, and you'll make sure you'll be able to grab your spot there, save your spot essentially for all the updates, communication that's going to come over the next couple of weeks. So unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to close this out a little bit early. I thank you very much for blessing us with the opportunity here to be your host for this amazing event. And make sure if you haven't registered already, or reach out to someone that you're connected with and get them to plug into the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Week. We've got some amazing speakers coming up, and I can't believe it. We've actually got Gene Simmons from KISS coming to play with us, and I can't wait to hear Mr. Gene Simmons speak. So what an amazing week. Thank you very much, Haley, Debbie, Nicole, Sarah. Really appreciate you. Aaron, for tuning in. It's going to sign out now. I think we've lost the opportunity here to get this text sorted out. So I'm going to close this out. Thank you very much. Thank you for all you could do for us, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye for now.